Welcome back, geometry. In this video, we'll be going over example 3. So let's prove that quadrilateral, okay, this one is not called cake, that's a typo. This one is called quadrilateral corn. Do you see a theme here? Maybe Miss Lopez is a little hungry. Okay, so let's prove quadrilateral corn is a parallelogram. And remember, to show that, we want to prove that the opposite sides are parallel. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to find my change in y and my change in x. So let's see, CO. My change in y is going to be 2, and my change in x is, I'm going to need to count that out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My change in x is 8. So my slope of segment CO is going to be 2 over 8. Or if we're trying to simplify that, that turns into 1/4. Okay, now let's check the slope of NR. So slope of segment NR. And my change in y looks like it's going to be 2 again. That's an ugly 2. There we go, 2. And I'm just going to go ahead and guess that my change in x is also going to be 8. So my change in y was 2. Let's double check my change in x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we were correct. So our change in x is 8. Alrighty, let's go ahead and check the other sides. So let's find the slope of segment CN. So my slope of CN, segment CN. Let's see, my change in y this time is going to be, that looks pretty long, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's interesting. My change in y is going to be 8, and my change in x is 2. So that turns into 8 over 2, or a slope of 4. And I forgot to simplify the other slope of 2/8 to 1/4. Okay, now let's find the slope of RO, segment RO. So slope of segment RO. Okay, my change in y, let's go ahead and count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My change in y, that's going to be 8, and my change in x is 2. So I've proved that the opposite sides are parallel, so I know that this is for sure a parallelogram. But something I noticed about the slopes of the consecutive sides is that they're very similar. They're just reciprocals of each other. They're not opposite reciprocals. They are just reciprocals. So the slopes of the consecutive sides are reciprocals of each other, which means they're just flipped. Okay. I don't know what the most specific name for this quadrilateral, what the name for the specific, I don't know what the name for this specific quadrilateral would be just yet. Sorry, words are hard, guys. But I'm going to guess that it's a rhombus. Okay, now one of the properties of a rhombus is that all of the sides are congruent to each other. So we need to prove that that's actually true. So let's go ahead and find the distance of one of our sides. So I want to find the distance of segment CO. Now remember, to find distance, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared. Let me change colors here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I've got my right angle right here. Now remember, A and B are going to be the legs of your right triangle. So, and I know the length of those legs is 2 and 8. So I'm going to substitute those values in for A and B. So 2 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. 2 squared is 4. 8 squared is 64 equals c squared. 4 plus 64 is 68 equals c squared. Now to undo a power of 2, I need to take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So the length of CO, that's not a nice number when I plug that into my calculator. So I'm just going to say that the length of CO is the square root of 68. Now, I also notice that I'm using those same values in for A and B on the opposite side here. So I also know that the length of NR is also going to be the square root of 68. And then when I'm looking at the triangles that I created that would help me find the length of R and O, I'm noticing that these right triangles are also using values of 2 and 8. So when I plug in 2 in for A and 8 in for B in to help me find the length of RO, I'm going to get the same value. So the length of RO is going to be the square root of 68. I've already done that work. I don't need to do it 3 more times. And I can also see that on the other side over here, I've got another right triangle that also where also A and B is going to be 2 and 8. So I also know now that the length of CN is the square root of 68. So all of the sides are congruent. This is true, which means that it is a rhombus.